With climate change and other contributing factors, there's no longer a wildfire season. They occur year-round, and Perimeter Solutions is always ready to protect property and lives from wildfires. Returning guest Shannon Horn, Business Director of North America Fire Retardants and Services at Perimeter Solutions, talks about how year-round wildfire season impacts preparations and what we can expect looking ahead to the 2022 wildfire season. All that and more on today's episode of Solutions That Save, a fire safety podcast from Perimeter Solutions.
Hello, I'm your host, Dan Green. Welcome to Solutions That Save, a fire safety podcast from Perimeter Solutions, helping save property, natural resources, critical infrastructure, and lives. Most of the western United States are currently in a drought, with the state of California facing historically dry conditions. Shannon Horn talks about how this will impact the 2022 wildfire season in today's Solutions That Save podcast. But first, I ask him to talk about what he and his team are doing to prepare for the year ahead. Shannon, last time we talked, you mentioned that your team is busier during the winter than wildfire season due to all the prep work you have to complete. Will you take us through what needs to get done during the off-season?
Yeah, absolutely, Dan. The off season is really the time we ensure all our equipment and maintenance is done. We replace and expand upon our capabilities. So based on the previous season, there's a lot of work to do to bring pumps in, tank systems, and ensure that everything's ready to go for the next season. We also look at opportunities that we need to add storage systems and also expanding our capabilities, such as simultaneous loading for aircraft. So that we'll go in and add blender systems, pump systems to add those capabilities.
And Perimeter supports air bases all around the continent, really. Could you talk to us about what your team does to help air bases get ready to deploy aircraft in order to support wildland firefighting?
Yeah, so aerial firefighting with fire retardant has been proven to be one of the most important tools in the world. Our objective at Perimeter is to help save lives and property around the world, not just here in the United States. Many countries are now starting to experience larger fires that they've never experienced before. And as the global leader in aerial fire suppression products, Perimeter Solutions strives to educate and support new operations and growing operations as efficiently and effectively as possible.
And for people like me, novices in the fire safety industry, will you explain how fixed tank helicopters are used for firefighting compared to how airplanes are?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Initial attack is generally led by the fixed wing aircraft because of their speed and volume of product they carry. Once a fire turns into a campaign, what we consider, more than a couple days, a larger fire, then what they do is essentially hand over to the rotor wing, the helicopters. What we do is bring in mobile retardant bases and set up as close to the fire as possible where we can get water source of about 350 gallons a minute from a lake, river, stream, pond, hydrant, whatever we can get. What that does is when we can set up that close, now the helicopters can come dip the fire retardant with 5-10 minute turnarounds versus aircraft that could be 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes turnaround. So that really the efficiency of putting a fire retardant around the fire is enhanced by those capabilities.
And Shannon, currently, phos-chek 259FX is the only retardant authorized for use on fixed tank helicopters. What are the advantages of 259FX?
This is really important as helicopters have more magnesium components on the aircraft than fixed wing airplanes. We don't have a significant issue with fixed wing. Perimeter has an exclusive product, the 259FX, that does not have corrosion issues with magnesium parts, such as the brakes and other important areas of the aircraft. So that's why this is a dedicated product just for fixed tank helicopters.
Got it. Now, aerial attack is critical in protecting property and lives from wildfire. What are your main concerns getting aircraft ready for deployment?
Well, this one has changed. As off seasons become shorter, it is more challenging for aircraft companies to complete their overall winter maintenance on their fleet of aircraft and then have them ready to go in short notice. It is important for us as Perimeter to ensure our products are as compatible as possible to ensure less maintenance or issues on float systems, their door systems, etc. And what we're seeing, there's other chemistries of products that have proven to cause significant issues with these systems that may cause significant downtime during the fire season or longer or more costly repairs during the off season. Obviously, this would affect the companies to be up and running in short order and obviously an impact to their overall cost.
I've been reading a lot about nighttime air attack of wildfires starting up again, and it's being used more over the last year. What are the advantages of battling a wildfire at night?
Well, as we all see, most of the camera video is during the daytime when fires are very extreme. It's hotter temperatures, winds, RHs, your relative humidities are very low. At night, the fires generally are much more subtle. You get the lower temperatures, lower relative humidity, and the winds die down. So this would obviously allow significant gains to be made on a fire if we have the opportunity to be in there. We have a new program that started the last fire season. What we have is an MRB that is staffed and ready to move 24 hours a day in Southern California. And that's coupled with a helicopter company that has night vision capabilities. And so the objective is that we can respond and have fire retardant support on that first burning evening.
And so last year you were bringing up your work with the mobile retardant base, and 2021 was another very active wildfire season across the United States. Are there any interesting stories or successes from last year that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, there's actually the Reagan Ranch that's operated by the Young America's Foundation, a very historical property just north of Santa Barbara. And as we know, Southern California had a significant fire season last year. We had partnered with the Young America's Foundation and offered to provide some pre-treatment around the property. And ironically, there was a very significant fire outside of Santa Barbara and burned all the way onto the property. So it was really a great testament to have that protection of something so important to our history to protect.
Working, as the head of retardant for North America, you're seeing things outside the United States, supporting wildland firefighting in Mexico and Canada as well. How did those wildfire seasons in those two countries compare with the US last year?
Mexico is generally pretty light, but what we did see is last year, early on, we had some significant fire activity in Mexico. We partnered with 10 Tanker and supported the first VLAT retardant operation in Mexico in history. So that was a huge success to help support our neighbors down there. In Canada, it was a relatively average season. And we ask in today's day, what is average anymore? But, it was definitely much lighter than what we've seen here in the US.
Good to hear. This is contrast to what you just said. The wildfire season is getting longer every year, and you touched upon this earlier. Some people are saying that there's really no off season anymore. How has this longer wildfire season impacted the way Perimeter Solutions in the fire management industry prepares?
Oh, yes. Adapt, improvise, expect the unexpected. Our industry is changing in what we support. We have bases in Central California and San Diego area that are now staffed year round with aircraft by CAL FIRE. Our perimeter team is there year round now. So it's quite different than what we had in the past. We expect other bases throughout California to also join as we continue to see some of the fire potential. We just had a few weeks ago a fire in Southern California. So it really has become a year-round operations in California, and that's stretching into other areas such as Arizona, et cetera.
And you were leading right into my next question here. When we talked last spring, you mentioned that wildfire season in 2021 at that time was pretty active. How is this spring comparing? You saw the more activity in California, but overall, what are you seeing?
Yeah, for this year, we're seeing a little bit of difference. The Central Plains, Oklahoma, we had quite a bit of activity through February, March. And right now, we're seeing activity down in the Southeast in Florida. And that trend is moving more toward Region 3, which is the Arizona and New Mexico, which we're expected to have above normal fire activity.
And the entire state of California right now is under drought conditions, as is much of the western United States. What are you expecting overall for the season ahead?
Yeah, it's definitely from the current predictive services, and drought monitors, we're expecting much of the West to be similar and most likely potentially significantly more active with fires than what we even had last year. As I said before, what is the average anymore? Definitely since 2018, the trend of average has inclined significantly in the amount of fires, especially in the West.
Before we let you go, is there anything else that we didn't cover that you'd like to discuss about the upcoming wildfire season?
I think what we can, in an overview of some of your great questions, is we've seen a change in what fire has done, especially in the last 3-5 years. And we feel it's really important for utility companies, government agencies, really to focus more attention on prevention and protection. Fire seasons are growing in intensity, volume, and extended durations. So resources are really becoming limited. I think we all need to be proactive as possible and not just reactive when there's fires, which means implementing policies to allow pre-treatment of lands to protect properties and also improve our initial attack strategies to catch fires while they are small. There's a lot of solutions, and they do require some shifts in philosophy and tactics from our past strategies. But times are changing, and it's time for all of us to make some changes as well.
To find out how we use our experience, responsibility, and integrity to deliver trusted solutions that help improve firefighting performance, visit our website at perimeter-solutions.com. That's perimeter-solutions.com. And learn more about our solutions that save property, natural resources, critical infrastructure, and lives. Please join us again for another episode of Solutions That Save, a fire safety podcast from Perimeter Solutions.